Okay, ideally this is sound on and vision on. It's about 11:30 on Wednesday morning, day 3 of week 30 of Urban Agoge. It's the 13th of November 2019. There you go, proper vlog introduction, and it's only going to get better. I've realised that I probably need to script these a little more. 3 years and I didn't script today's. It's all about evolution. The whole of this Urban Agoge thing has been about evolution. Evolution of the technology I used to make it, and now we need to do an evolution of planning. So I've been boring you all rigid about planning to go vegan in the new year, and I've just done my Tesco shop for the month, and I've realised that I've been kind of hemorrhaging money quite a bit, and I need to put in more effort to not hemorrhage money. But it's all a bit ridiculous when I look at how much money. Like I'm working mad levels of hours, and because I'm working mad levels of hours, I'm shopping on the way home, and it's kind of all falling over. Because I've been thinking back through my spending, and it's like little bits of money here, little bits of money there. Buying things on the way home from work, buying a lot of snack food, of shit that just isn't good for me. So, this is not to, I'm not berating myself, it's just like this is how you can fall off track. And the reminder from Digital Whiskey to say, I haven't seen you doing any fitness videos. I was like, well, I am at least every single day getting a walk in the woods. So that's a chunk of some of it. So that's at least half an hour's walking in uneven ground with a hill to clamber up and down and stuff like that. So yes. And yeah. So, I'm just looking at it objectively. And, just thinking, this is not a successful lifestyle plan. For instance, if I spend on average £5 at the supermarket, more or less every day, like 6 days a week, that's £30 a week. That's £120 in a 4-week month. When I look at it, if I were to look at it objectively, stand back and sort of say, right, well, at least half of that was unnecessary. At least half of what I bought was snack food or food for that evening, so I didn't have to cook. And I've just put in a Tesco's order for about 90 quid. And that should last me and the cat, because 20 quid of that is cat stuff. So I've spent £70 on food, and I've bought enough cat stuff to last me about a month and a half, or maybe a little longer. If I was to put the cat on purely dried cat food, then it would be about a month and a half. And I might try seeing if I can find, I know this sounds cruel, see if there's some vegan dried cat food. I don't think I'll be able to chop out meat for the cat. She'll go on strike and be very grumpy. So it's not my call to make. I chose to have a cat, the cat eats meat, stuff like that. So £70 of food is about half what I'm spending in Sainsbury's on a regular basis. So I've definitely got to change my breakfast routine of eggs and bacon and all that sort of stuff, because that's clearly not vegan. I have bought 24 eggs. I bought 2 dozen eggs because I'm not really planning on going 100% vegan until the new year. But I haven't bought any meat. The soup I bought is mushroom soup. I bought mushrooms. I've bought frozen fruit. I bought canned fruit, fresh fruit. I've bought vegetables. I've bought frozen vegetables, canned vegetables, all that kind of stuff. And I spent about 10 or 12 quid of that 70 quid on, so about $20 out of the whole $110 was spent on vegan meat alternatives or vegetarian meat alternatives. Some of it's vegan, some of it's vegetarian. So I'll give you a review on that. But I'm very much coming round to the concept that if you're going to do the vegan thing, vegan meat alternatives aren't all that useful. You know, they don't taste great, because I'm coming from half a century of having eaten meat. You know, from the moment I could eat solid food, there's been meat involved, because people used to think meat was healthy. But I've watched part of a documentary, and I'll put a link to it at some point. And it turns out there was a case for vegetarianism, at least vegetarianism, as far back like an official government report as 1977. And behind closed doors, it just wasn't published. So like when I was 6, you know, there was an American study where they went to China and had a look at their diet in China, and realised that it was mostly vegetables, and they were doing fine. It's just people have an association of meat meaning wealth and a vegetable diet meaning poverty. And yeah, there's a certain amount to that. We were reet poor when I was a kid. Couldn't afford nowt. And we didn't have meat every meal. You know, we ate a lot more oatmeal, or porridge, as it's called. But has to be said, oatmeal is a more descriptive term for what porridge is rather than porridge. Porridge is just a cooking process. You can have rice porridge, you can have oat porridge, you can have corn porridge. That's what grits are. Grits is a kind of corn porridge. And there are some foods that I just think, nah, you know, but there's also some other stuff where I just think, you know, I'm a bit of a fan of fruit. I think it does you a lot of good. Fruit juice is good for you. Fruit smoothies are great for you. Fruit and vegetable smoothies are even better for you. So what I've done is I've bought some vegan yogurt, and I'll let you know what that's in, sort of some vegan natural yogurt. And I bought some frozen fruit, and I've got some pineapple in tins, and quite a lot of bananas. So I'm going to, you know, put one banana in, add some yogurt, add some more fresh fruit, boom, breakfast smoothie. Add in some spinach, if, you know, it going green, you know, or some frozen broccoli or something, and you've got an even better thing. Bang it in the blender. I think that blender's going to be my friend. I mean, I realise I've got an advantage. One, I've got a fairly good job where I can afford to try this stuff out. I haven't got any dependents, I haven't got to convince anybody else in the household, and I'm not making the cat go vegan. So that makes me a fairly interesting guinea pig, I think, for vegan life. Or at least, you know, quasi-vegan life. So I'm not going to try and quit everything. I'm not going to try and quit dairy, although, you know, I've bought some vegan cheese. That's one of the vegan things I bought. And on the recommendation of those vegan guys, and if you are interested in going vegan, they're lovely. Definitely, you want a bunch of gay men to tell you how hench they are as a result of being vegan. And they're good looking guys and they're in good shape. So, you know, keep it up, people. You know, definitely. And I'll definitely put a link to those vegan guys in the link below. There may well be some sort of crossover video coming soon in the new year, because I want to talk to those guys. But I think, you know, if you could magically make meat and it didn't fuck up the environment, I'd probably be okay with eating meat. You know, but in order to make it so that it doesn't knacker the environment entirely, it's got to be produced with a lot more care. You know, and when you put in more human labour into it, and you're putting more care into the animals and stuff like that, it's going to cost an absolute fortune, pricing itself out of the market. So I get why market forces have driven us to be crueler. You know. Yes. Let's do the face thing. So I get why it's happened. It's not, you don't need a master's degree in economics to figure out what's gone down, but it's so destructive. I mean, there's an American study that says it takes something like 400 gallons of water to produce a kilo of beef, and 17 kilos of grain, because not all beef is grass fed, because you couldn't have it. They just said in America, America's beef industry, if it wanted to grass feed all of its cattle, it would be an extra 200,000 square miles of land required to produce the amount of beef that they currently produce. And imagine how many, if you were to seriously do that, how much land could be cleared for cities. You know, if you could build like another, you know, you could build 100 cities that were sprawling and massive if you were going to use up that much land. There isn't that much spare land in the continental United States, so it wasn't going to happen anyway. But yeah, so when you don't eat a quarter pounder, that's something like 65 square feet of land that you didn't use that day. And, you know, I don't think burgers are that great. You know, your average go to the supermarket buying a quarter pounder, which is what they're talking about, sort of like, you know, factory farmed burgers. For every one of those you don't eat, that's 65 square feet of land that was unnecessarily used. Now, I know there's going to be some wastage, you know, because they'll probably, you know, if we don't eat it, they've already made it, they'll throw it away. But if we can, if the people of Earth continually don't eat said burger, then there'll be no market for it. But there will be a market for much better vegan food. Like, I'll probably be quite happy going back to meat if they manage to grow it. Like, they're already growing these, you know, beef stem cells so they can actually grow muscle protein that would be meat that's never been alive and never been conscious. You know, it's about as ethical as eating a plant. In fact, slightly more ethical than eating plants. But, you know, if you let people make food in a lab, then the quality of said food goes down and you don't know what's in it. You know, if you can get hold of vegetables that weren't sprayed with pesticides, then you know what you're getting, really, unless there are contaminants in the soil. But you can only go so far as, you know, outside of growing it yourself. And even then you don't know what contaminants are in the soil already that you're going to be consuming. So you can't know with a massive degree of certainty. You can improve your chances. So yeah, so I'm going to review the vegan foods that I've bought, and I'll let you know if any of them are any good. But the only one I'll be really super disappointed in if it doesn't work out is going to be the cheese. I'm happy to pay more for the cheese because I'll have, like, the amount of stuff I got for my 90 quid by not buying any meat, whereas I would usually have bought, you know, 6 packets of bacon. So instead of 6 packets of bacon, which would have cost me about 12 quid, or at least a tenner, I'm getting like a whole shed load of vegan food, vegan sausages, you know, chicken pieces, vegan bacon. I'm not sure how that's going to pan out, but I'm going to try it to go past the bacon sandwich thing. You know, and spinach and broccoli and stuff like that. Yeah. And I also, in that, bought, as a recommendation by those vegan guys, I bought something that I pretty much consider snack food. I bought some sort of mini shredded wheats with fruit inside. So, like, I bought some apricot wheats and some blueberry wheats. You know, and I'm going to see if I can maybe make those palatable. I'm going to try a few things out, see if I can get some a little bit of vegan chocolate or some vegan chocolate chips, or, you know, put a little bit of agave syrup on them to make them sweeter so that they replace the £5 a night snack food shopping that I'm doing. So I bought 2 boxes of those, bought a kilo of them. And yeah, I'll probably, and I bought some fruit and nuts to make some granola with, and I'm going to have a go at making some like oat type biscuits, because I've got a lot of biscuity ingredients lying around. So, you know, go back to not eating snack food, maybe some granola bars, you know, or maybe some loose granola in a pouch, just to give me something to munch on, where, you know, I mean, granola is really easy, you know. All you do is you put the oats in a thing with some coconut oil and some honey or some agave syrup and bake them, and at the last minute add the fruit and nuts. because they don't need cooking. You know, put the fruit and nuts in a bit of a blender, blend them up very gently, you know, done. Or just chop them up, and then you've got granola. You've got, you know, if you can make the granola stick in little clusters, and it's got honey, which is antibacterial, and it's got coconut oil in it, so it's giving you a little fat fix, then you're good to go. I mean, some of the things that I bought to add up to that large amount of money were, you know, pretty cheap considering, but it did, you know, like olive oil. I've switched to it entirely to olive oil because it's one of the few oils that doesn't mess you up as badly. I mean, having oil to cook in, having oil to make stuff with, you know, a little bit of olive oil to fry your onions in just makes things taste a little bit better. So, you know, a litre of olive oil is going to cost you between £3 and £4, whereas a litre of vegetable oil is going to cost you about £1. So it's quadrupled the cost of my cooking oil, but I am eating a lot less meat. I mean, not today, because I've still got bacon to use up. And I bought some bagels, you know, I've got to offset that breakfast rush where, you know, my body goes, oh, you normally eat meat about now. But yeah, so definitely check out Those Vegan Guys. I think they're a pretty good source of information that doesn't rely on you being, you know, a middle-class Waitrose shopper. Look at me judging people. But yeah, you know, middle-class people, you know, the financial aspect of being vegetarian or vegan doesn't feature. Well, you know, and I'll reiterate again, I used to take the mickey out of vegetarians and vegans all the time, but I think it's worth tactically trying it. Because if you get used to just eating vegetables, if you have to grow or produce your own food, it's a load easier, you know. I mean, I was, you know, in a depressive moment a couple of weeks ago, and I sort of said, you know, oh, do I really want to live longer? You know, because I was depressed. It's like, oh, do I want to live till I'm 80? You know, and non-depressed me, you know, non-depressed me sort of said, no, I don't care, because I'm feeling nihilist, I want to die, because I was depressed. Well, I didn't take any action on it, because I got a rule. Am I still depressed as much as I was 3 days later? There's a reason to keep a diary, people. You know, even if you don't want to write it down for other people to read your darkest thoughts, put a sad face on the day that you're on, and then in the top left-hand corner of the diary, 3 days later, put in a smiley face and see if you know, if that matches. And if it does, it was just a cyclic depression. It's just your brain rinsing out all the things that you're worried about. And, you know, because you're not doing it while you're asleep. It's not shredding things that you're concerned about. I mean, you're still concerned about them, you still want to do something about them. But, yeah, let me just... 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Didn't set the gimbal up quite as well as I could. So yeah, I mean, that's a bit rambly, but you know, I'll give you feedback. The Greggs sausage roll is a no-no unless you like Greggs food. I think my problem with it was that they use a specific kind of vegetable shortening that never really goes away. If you like Fray Bentos pies, you'll probably like Greggs because it's the same process. If you think they taste a bit icky and you have a queasy feeling in your stomach after you've eaten one, then, you know, you're best leaving them alone. So yeah, so I want to make some macaroni, cheese and vegetable bake type stuff. I want to make like tuna, the equivalent of tuna surprise without the tuna in it, with mushrooms and sweet corn and tomatoes and stuff, and try and find something, maybe see if there's a fish or a similar thing to give that umami sort of taste, that savoury taste to add into it. Maybe it doesn't need the tuna at all. Maybe it's just a kind of like filling in the gaps. But the cheese had better be good. And apparently Applewood cheese, currently only available at Asda. Maybe I need to switch my purchasing thing. I need to set up a delivery account with Asda so I can order a shitload of their Applewood cheese, because that's recommended by Those Vegan Guys as well as a good meltable cheese. So yeah, so we need to, I probably need to do a few cooking shows. once, you know, before the end of the year, and actually compare the outgoings of food. I reckon last month I probably spent about £150 on food all told, because I was buying bits and pieces on the way home from work, which is a bad idea. But you know, it's like at 10 o'clock at night, that's kind of when I start to get hungry now. Whereas if I had a little baggie of those wheats or some granola, then you know, maybe it'd be easier if I could just snack on something that I was okay with, that I'd already bought at a vastly reduced cost. I mean, you're never going to really eat more than 100 grams of those wheat things because they're very light, but it will fill your stomach because it's spun wheat. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Have some of those, some fresh fruit, and just keep that in my bag and have an idea of what I'm having for dinner, which will probably mean that I will need to batch cook some stuff. Now, I very nearly bought a microwave oven this month, but I think I can get around it. So my plan is to batch cook some vegan chili and batch cook some vegan curry and maybe some general vegan mince, and get some new baking pans. I only use a mini oven. So if I could freeze those and put them in the freezer when I do a batch cook, say 6 portions for a large pan. It's almost impossible to cook anything less than 6 portions of spaghetti bolognese in one go, but that's usually limited by the size of the pack of meat. I bet you could probably make, if you weren't using meat, so you're not using a packet of meat, like a packet of mince, which would be about 250 grams to 300 grams of meat, that needs a certain number of cans of other stuff to sort of like spread it out a bit, which is the point of those dishes. So yeah, I bet if I wasn't using meat at all, but I was using soy, I could use soy mince just to give it that granular texture, and then if I've got anything else, I could add it in. So like if I make a corn chicken curry, and I know corn chicken isn't vegan, but you know, I think it will be at some point. I think we've got to find another egg white alternative. But as more people become vegan, more stuff becomes available for the vegan market. And it was like 10 million quid. You know, that's the size of the market last year, and it's only getting bigger. And I think the big supermarkets are realising that it's a market worth exploring. Not Greg's sausage rolls though. Maybe in a year's time, after I haven't eaten meat for a while and I have different expectations of what meat-like things are like, I'll enjoy one more. So yeah, that may be a double review. I'll probably go properly, you know, it's like sausages. I don't quite like to make a nice sausage version of a shepherd's pie with slices of sausage in it. So that involves just, you know, part cooking a bunch of vegan sausages, slicing them up and putting them in with, you know, carrots and stuff like that, and peas, and yeah, with a potato topping. See how that goes. There's some vegan cheese sprinkled across the top liberally. So yeah, but it does look like it's going to be a batch cooking thing, so I'll have to be more disciplined in what I want to eat that day. You know, maybe make 3 or 4 portions of everything, put those in plastic tubs, put them in the freezer, and then on the morning that I want to eat them, just take one out. So it requires a bit more discipline, but ultimately it could be a lot quicker. You know, if I shake out, you know, take the thing out of its plastic tub and then eat that in the evening when I get home. You know, maybe I need to start making, you know, banana ice cream with a bit of yogurt and a bit of, you know, bit of frozen fruit in it, because I am a sucker for ice cream, and it's all dairy. I mean, there is vegan ice cream, but you're paying a mad level of premium for it, and the idea of this is to reduce my spending. Way. Oh, you got a falling over thing. Well done. So yeah, because I'm just looking at the level of debt I'm in at the moment, and you guys are helping out with that. People have helped out with equipment and monies, which is cool. But yeah, so if I reduce my food outgoings to, well, I think it's about £150 at the moment, and I get that down to somewhere between £70 and £100 a month, that's another 30 quid I can throw into the big black hole. And if I quit smoking as well, you're talking, you know, some months it could be as much as £250. So going vegan, stopping smoking, £250. I'm working more, so that's another couple hundred quid. So if I were to live a very, you know, a more conscious level of consumption, I'm going to be healthier, and inside 8 months I could be completely debt free. Interesting, no? And that means that inside another 8 months I could have £4,000 in the bank. You know, could I set it up so that with my current work plans I can save, if I want to, £500 a month? A year of that, 6 grand. 2 years of that, 12 grand. You know, that's a chunk of money that you can really start to do things with. So yes. So yeah. So I'm going to try and reduce all my outgoings from the beginning of the year. I've already booked some time off at the very beginning of the year to quit smoking, because that's 125 quid a month easy. You know, with the reduction in spending on food, it's easily got to be 150 to 170 quid a month I'd be saving. So yeah. Whew. Yeah, so let's have a look at how that goes. Be nice not to pay out. I mean, and if I'm out of debt, that's another 150 quid as well. You know, so half of 1 week every month I work to maintain my debt, because it's not going down very fast. Most of that's just interest, even on the loan. So yeah, wouldn't that be interesting? So yeah, I mean, 6 months of living expenses. It's a dangerous thought. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and do take care.